3 people are in custody, but state and federal police are still hunting for the masterminds behind an alleged anti-Semitic plot involving a caravan filled with explosives. Live to Nine's Bianca Balza at Sydney Police Centre. Bianca, police aren't giving much away. What do we know about those arrested?
Jane, those 3 people in custody, I can tell you they've been linked to this incident in Dural, the discovery of that caravan packed full of explosives and an apparent hit list of Jewish targets, but they have not been charged as yet. They have been named on a federal police search warrant. They include Scott Marshall and Tammy Farrugia. Now, Tammy was allegedly seen to be posting on social media in December asking around if anyone had a caravan they could sell her. She said she needed one ASAP. Now, she and Mr. Marshall are in custody for other matters. She is charged with an anti-Semitic attack which occurred in Woollahra in December. Now, that third person you mentioned, they were arrested earlier this month after the discovery of 8 so-called kill cars. Now, these are allegedly stolen vehicles with cloned number plates, and they were allegedly found with cans of fuel in the back. Now, these are the classic tools of the criminal underworld, and so it's adding to the suggestion that there's some larger organisational force at play here, and police are now searching for the mastermind. But as you said, they are keeping many of these details top secret. It took 10 days for the details of this incident in Dural to be made public, and it's emerged today that even on Wednesday is when the Prime Minister was first briefed on that. We will hear more about that shortly when the Deputy Prime Minister and the Opposition Leader join us on the Today Show in about 5 minutes' time. Jane?
Bianca, thank you.
Well, Jewish families are speaking out, terrified about the wave of anti-Semitic attacks in Sydney. One mother revealing she's scared about sending her 2 daughters off to school after it was vandalised with hateful graffiti. Sharon joins us live now from Sydney. Sharon, thank you so much for your time this morning. We've seen attack after attack for you. It's frighteningly close to home. How are you and your family feeling?
Oh, look, we're rattled, I won't lie. I live pretty damn close to where the daycare was firebombed. And if anything, I'm weirdly relieved that my daughter's first day of school is today and it wasn't yesterday, because the scenes that we were confronted with when I dropped my daughter at daycare yesterday, because she's on the same campus, was pretty horrific. So I'm thankful that the older kids aren't being subjected to that and seeing what these lowlifes are thinking of our children. It's just a strange space we're living in at the moment.
No, it really is. I mean, the attacks are hateful in their nature, but they're also so disgraceful to see. But attacking a daycare centre, I mean, that is next level. How do you even go about explaining this to children?
Do you know what? You kind of don't. You have to keep it age appropriate. I was sheltering my kids. We drove past the media storm that was at the end of my street when the firebomb happened, and I just was like, oh, there's a fire. Yeah, they're all here. They're covering that. I don't want to tell them and like how hateful this world can be. And yeah, we're just trying to protect them, and then just, you know, briefed my daughter last night that there's going to be police there today, and just to be, you know, ready for it, and just try and keep it age appropriate, because you just don't want kids having to think that this is what regular life is.
Isn't it awful, Sharon? Yeah, even just to have to think of excuses, right, to make up stories to try and make this somehow more palatable for a younger mind. I mean, even the presence of police officers outside of school, that is scary in itself. And I imagine that there's going to be a lot more of that in your community as we go forward, because we just don't know when the next attack might happen.
You know what? That's like the exhaustion of it.
Yeah.
Like, we're just tired. You know, like, we live with this low-level anxiety. Every morning you look at your phone to kind of see, uh-oh, what's happening today? And that just feeling of stress, it's not healthy for anyone. And, you know, I'm sure everyone else is sick of it too, you know, like our non-Jewish neighbours. You know, it's just, we don't want the police helicopters flying over us at 12 o'clock at night keeping everyone up, but we need it because we're not safe. You know, how long is it going to take before we're hit, you know, until there's a casualty? So, like, that's just what we really want. Like, we're so thankful to the police and to, you know, what the government is saying, But we need arrests made. We need to show them that, you know, you can't get away with this. This is just un-Australian. It's uncool. Like, what more can, you say?
Oh, Sharon, I can hear it in your voice. I can see it in your face, just how much this weighs on you. And it is so unfair, and I'm so sorry that you and the community have to endure this utter rubbish. It's just so unfair. I hope you're okay.
Look, we're fine. Do you know what? Like, we're united, we're strong. We've been there, we've done that. We know the Jewish community have gone through a lot worse in our time, and we're united. It's bringing us together. Our rabbis, our principals, our community leaders, we know how to fight this and we band together. But like, to me, like, there's just two really obvious ways, like, to try and help move this forward for me. We've got to stop the online hate. There is so much disgusting anti-hate, anti-Jew hate online by prolific influencers. Until the government get on top of that and criminalise it and stop it, it's festering in like cyberspace, and then it's just, that's what's falling out onto our streets.
You're absolutely right,
Do you know what
Sharon.
I mean?
We need to see more action. And look, we're all thinking of you, and we just hope
action.
that, this does ease sometime soon. Well, it's a crisis dividing our politicians and fueling fear in our community. And anti-Semitic attacks escalating in Australia every week. And in a chilling development, there are concerns it's all being orchestrated by so-called puppet masters. To discuss, we are joined by Deputy PM Richard Marles and Opposition Leader Peter Dutton. Good morning to you both. Good to see you. Richard, I'll start with you. So a caravan filled with explosives, schools and synagogues racially vandalised. The community is rightly terrified and feeling vulnerable, left in the dark about developments. I mean, the PM wasn't even informed of this discovery in the caravan.
Well, I can understand why the community feels the way it does. Certainly anti-Semitism is on a rise and at a place that it's not been in my lifetime, and it really should have no place in Australian society. I think we do need to just take a moment to understand that part of the news of this week is that this was a plot which was foiled, and that reflects the fact that there has been additional resources provided to police forces around the country, in this instance the New South Wales Police Force, but of course we have provided resources to the AFP with Operation Avalite, and our police forces are working very closely with each other around the country to foil these attacks, and so we are doing everything in our power to combat this. But what underlies this is bigotry, prejudice, hatred. It has no place in Australia today, and together we need to be standing against this, which this government is and which governments around Australia are. I mean, it's obviously not a matter for partisan politics. This really is a matter where we stand in solidarity as one with the Jewish community and do everything we can to stop what is just a fundamentally an Australian act in what we are seeing people do in respect to the Jewish community today.
Absolutely. And I think, Peter, it's really terrifying as well when you think about the scale of destruction this caravan, if it had gone ahead with whatever plan was in place, how much destruction that could have caused. The reason police kept it quiet has been well documented from them, but as Richard touches on there, has this issue become politicised?
I think the frustration within the community is that it's just escalated over a period of time since the dreadful circumstances of October 7. 2 days later, there was a protest on the street, on the steps of the Sydney Opera House. We saw months and months of protest at universities and on the streets of particularly Sydney and Melbourne. People predicted that there was going to be an escalation in violence, and I think that's the frustration in the community. Well, it can start with graffiti and it can start with the doxing, which is bad enough, but then it's escalating to a bombing of a synagogue, and it's predictable in the sense that people don't know red lines, and they've continued to escalate, and people have warned of Australians losing their lives. Had this taken place, as I understand from the police advice, it would have been a 40-metre blast zone, which would have been the most catastrophic terrorist attack in our country's history. And so we have to take it incredibly seriously, and you can understand why the Jewish community is really living on edge.
Richard, we're being assured that there's no ongoing threat to the public safety. I'm not sure anyone really believes that, to be honest. I mean, the apparent puppet masters are still out there.
Oh, well, there's work to be done here, and no one's saying that. I mean, we are doubling down in terms of the support we are providing to our police forces. We've established Operation Avalite, which is the Australian Federal Police operation dedicated to dealing with anti-Semitic hate crimes, but the state police forces have their own task forces in place, and so there's an enormous amount of effort going on. And I don't think anyone's being sanguine about the future. I mean, we are very focused on doing everything within our power to combat this and to do everything within our power to make the Jewish community feel safe. But, what we are seeing is completely unacceptable. It is founded on bigotry.
Well, make no mistake about it. This is a shameful chapter in our history. How the Jewish community has absorbed this constant awful strain is a testament to their resilience. But how much more can they take? How long before it gets even worse? Joining us to discuss today's headlines is ALP National President Wayne Swan and Independent MP Di Lee. Nice to see you guys. Wayne, first up.
Good morning.
We're up against a puppet master, police say. Jewish people are terrified, and now hard-working police say they need more resources. They should get it all, shouldn't they?
Well, they should. The police are all over this, and that's a good thing. It's a huge challenge. It's incredibly disturbing. But, I take comfort from the fact that they're making progress in the investigations.
The problem is that it doesn't seem to stop, and it does seem to be getting worse. Di, can you imagine what it's like to wake up in the morning and fear what's going to happen in Australia?
Look, first of all, can I acknowledge the frontline workers, the policemen and the policewomen who are so under-resourced at the moment to tackle crime, not just in, across the city, but now have to be called to situations and incidents like this. And it's appalling that we are seeing this now. Many migrants and refugees like myself who've come to Australia for a safe haven. We never imagined. I don't think, since arriving here, this is the first time that I have seen this kind of violence being, emerging here in Australia. We're such a safe society, and I don't know how we got to this point. We need to go back to where Australia feels safe, that external factors do not interfere with the safety that Australia's provide for many of us.
Swanee, the leadership could have been stronger from the get-go. Do you concede that?
No, I don't accept that at all. What we need is to be united over this issue, and we are. We've had strong action from the Prime Minister, strong action from the Foreign Minister, and we need to have a bipartisan approach to this and stop the politicking.